EA had an exclusive deal with Porsche to feature their vehicles exclusively in the Need for Speed franchise for 16 years straight. Roof, a brand that was known in the racing game community from the 2000s to the early to mid 2010s, has never officially appeared in Need for Speed to this day. Celine is also another brand that has never officially appeared in the Need for Speed franchise, in the games at least. It has appeared in the movie with the Celine S7, but never in the games. Need for Speed used to have rally games, Need for Speed V-Rally and Need for Speed V-Rally 2, though they're not considered Need for Speed games, as Need for Speed as a name was just there to give V-Rally more publicity. Need for Speed Underground 2, Most Wanted 2005, The Run, and Rivals came out on the same month and day of November 15th. Only difference is their respective years that they came out, 2004, 2005, 2011, and 2013. You can drive as a T-Rex in Need for Speed 2. Jessica Miller from Need for Speed Payback was the first female protagonist that you can play as in the franchise. Ryan Cooper is the first protagonist to have a legit first and last name, as the character before him was just called the player. Need for Speed Undercover is the only Need for Speed game that you play as a police officer from beginning to end, as, of course, you're undercover. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remaster features every single car that has been featured in the original version from 2010, except for 4 cars, which are the Mercedes-Benz 722 SLR McLaren and its police variant, the SLR McLaren Sterling Moss, and the Carbon Motors E7 concept police vehicle. The reasons for their absence is licensing complications between Mercedes and McLaren for the 3 Mercedes, and Carbon Motors going extinct in 2014. Need for Speed Pro Street is one of 2 racing games to feature Texas World Speedway, the other racing game being NASCAR Legends, released in 1999 for the PC. Underground 1 and Carbon are the only 2 Need for Speed games to be released as arcade games. Out of all the Need for Speed games that have their own longest event in terms of distance, Most Wanted 2012 is the only Need for Speed game to feature its longest event as downloadable content. There are no race events in Need for Speed Payback that take place in the city of Fortune Valley, aside from the few races that you participated in Chapter 1 of the game. Now remember, regular races with race-type vehicles. Need for Speed Heat is the first Need for Speed to officially introduce motorcycles into the franchise, though you can't play with them unless if you mod the PC version of Heat. Need for Speed Payback is actually the closest Need for Speed game that you can get to a GTA 5 when it comes to playing 3 characters whenever you want. Need for Speed Payback is the first official Need for Speed game that allows us to drive a semi-truck. In this case, Max's semi-truck called the Mac Attack. 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2015 are the 4 years in where EA has released 2 Need for Speed games in the same year. 2009 being with Need for Speed Shift and Nitro, 2010 being with Need for Speed World and Hot Pursuit 2010, and 2011 with Shift 2 Unleashed and The Run, and 2015 with No Limits and Need for Speed 2015. Most Wanted 2012 wasn't always what it turned out to be in its final release. If you're interested, there is plenty of cut content of Most Wanted 2012 that was supposed to be a legitimate Most Wanted 2005 sequel. Originally, Most Wanted 2005 was supposed to have an airport in the game, but it got cut until it was brought back again in Need for Speed World. But it's not a complete airport compared to the airport in Underground 2. Only things that can be seen about this airport is just parking garages, a hotel, and a terminal. There is a stunt that you can perform in Need for Speed The Run in the final race of the 5th stage. And that is to basically drive under the falling rocks of the avalanche, and a suicidal text will display on the PC version. And that is only when you mod the campaign to include Tier 5 or Tier 6 cars. And no, you do not get any XP points if you perform that suicidal stunt. Every car in the Most Wanted list in Most Wanted 2012 are white, including the DLC vehicles. However, the mobile version of Most Wanted 2012 is different with the Most Wanted list. Not just with the cars that are in the list in the order that they are, but also with the liveries that they have on. Need for Speed Heat is not just the first Need for Speed game, but also the first game from Electronic Arts to introduce crossplay. As of the time that I'm recording this, there's only been 3 Need for Speed games that have been a launch title for consoles. Those games are Most Wanted 2005 for the Xbox 360, Carbon for the PS3 and the Wii, and Rivals for the PS4 and Xbox One. There has always been at least one Need for Speed game released in every year from 1997 to 2013, except for 2001. Although, there was a racing game in 2001 that EA released that was going to be a Need for Speed game. However, that changed when it got turned to an MMO, and that was Motor City Online, in which, in a way, is conceived to be the predecessor of Need for Speed World as a racing MMO. The Porsche 911 Speedster is the only vehicle throughout the entire franchise to have a police variant that does not have a hardtop. One of the most overlooked things throughout this entire franchise is in Hot Pursuit 2010 and the remaster with the SLS AMG, the police variant of the SLS AMG, having a regular police siren, but the vehicle has gull-wing doors. There's a Need for Speed concept called Need for Speed TerrorFive that basically would have been the watchdogs of racing games, according to what's known about the concept. Turbo in Hot Pursuit 2010 and Remaster is basically nitrous or boost that only lasts for a short amount of time. The only reason it's called Turbo is to make it sound cool. Need for Speed Rivals is the only Need for Speed game to be re-released with all its downloadable content included. In terms of open world Need for Speed games, Underground 1 and 2, Carbon, and 2015 are strictly set at night. Most Wanted 2005 and Undercover are strictly set in the day. Need for Speed World, Most Wanted 2012, Rivals, and Payback have a day and night cycle. Unlike those games that I mentioned, Need for Speed Heat has a day and night cycle, but is set manually rather than automatic. Hot Pursuit 2010 and Remaster have an open world, but it's bare bones compared to any other Need for Speed game that had an open world before and after. It also has an automatic day and night cycle as well. Need for Speed has pretty much been on every PlayStation console since 1995. It also has been on every Xbox console since 2002. Porsche Unleashed is the only Need for Speed game that just only focuses on one manufacturer, and of course, if you guessed it right, is Porsche. Need for Speed Pro Street has featured both the concept GTR R35 and the production version of the R35. Most Wanted 2012 has featured both the concept version of the Porsche 918 and its production model of the 918 as DLC. Need for Speed as a franchise has been passed around to many different developer studios throughout its 25 plus year history. There has been a 7 to 8 year gap between Most Wanted 2012 on the Wii U and Hot Pursuit 2010 Remaster for the Nintendo Switch in terms of a Need for Speed game being released on a Nintendo console. Need for Speed Carbon is the only Need for Speed game to ever be released on a Apple Mac computer. Most Wanted 2005 and Rivals share the same release launch date of November 22nd. 2005 Most Wanted for the Xbox 360, 2013 Rivals for the Xbox One. Palm City Raceway in Need for Speed Heat is basically Daytona International Speedway in shape, Homestead Miami Speedway in location, and the name Proving Grounds being a reference to the oval racetrack from Need for Speed 2. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 and The Run have dogs that either chase you or try to attack you. Strangely enough, there hasn't been a Tesla vehicle in Need for Speed since Most Wanted 2012. There have been a few occasions of the official Need for Speed Twitter roasting Toyota for their negligence of being in street racing games. There's a Jeep, a Hummer, and a Corvette C2 that were supposed to be in Most Wanted 2012, but they ended up being cut, but they still showed up in the mobile version of Most Wanted 2012.